What's going on, everybody? This is Kevin with Angry Snowboarder talking about my top 5 favorite park bindings for 2018. This is the video, and you're going to watch it. Now, Brigade. It's been in the line for a couple years now. It's on the new 2.0 frame. This year, I specifically rode the Slob colorway version. It's the super 80s looking neon bright blue, which I will specifically say because it's got a different toe strap to it, and I actually like that toe strap better. It's actually the toe strap that's on the IPO. It's way more basic, it's just plastic, and when it comes to toe straps, I'm kind of the opinion that the less you could put on my toe strap, the better, because all the simple toe straps out there tend to work the best. Being on the small size of the frame, I wear an 8 in the medium. I flipped the toe straps, and they worked way better. They stayed put better. They just fit my boot way better when I flipped them. So if you're having issues with your toe straps on the Now stuff, switch them between the bindings, and you may get a better fit out of them. The Now frames are all that skate tech frame and kingpin and nonsense, and I kind of wish they would stop using that marketing because it doesn't make any sense and it's not relative to a skateboard whatsoever. But anyways, what it does is redirect force. So when you're pushing forward onto your toe side with a regular binding, you're kind of taking that pressure and it goes across the front half of the board, or front whole side of that board underneath your foot. And what Now does with the way that that pivot system works is it takes all that pressure and redistributes it to just the very end where those pods are. So it gets all that effort and pressure to put it into that binding goes right on top of the edge. So inherently, any binding or any board you put a Now binding on top of is going to steer at your feet. It's an awesome feeling. It works really well. The Brigade is kind of your mid-flex in their line. It's got a supportive enough high back to it that it's going to always be enough for you. It works great in the park. It's super solid. And one of my favorite things about that binding is the strap. It's what they're calling the Sierra strap. It's basically just an injected EVA. There's no seams to blow out, nothing to stretch out, nothing's going to break on it. It's going to last a really long time. And one of my favorite things about their version of these injected straps is it doesn't have really much flex to it, but it's 3D shaped really well. So it provides that freedom of movement that you're going to get out of a normal strap, but when you get really deep into your turn and you're driving your knee really far forward, it firms up. It kind of has this like nice smooth curve when you're first getting into it, and then you get towards the kind of bottom end of where you can bend your leg, and then the support really ramps up. And that's super awesome for park. You're coming down super heavy landing, and it allows you to soak that up with your knees, but you get deep into it, and the binding's actually going to support your whole frame without the strap being super gnarly and stiff and restricted. Up now is the Flux TT. This is, theoretically, it's really one of their more entry-level bindings, just based on price and kind of where they position it in their line. I find it to be a really, really good park binding. They updated it this year. The big update this year was they got the new straps, the injected straps that everybody's doing nowadays. This is an injected plastic strap. So you have your support band that runs across the center, and then this inside mesh piece that does all the pressure distribution, and that's where your first point of contact is. It's malleable, it's supportive, it conforms around any boot, it's super comfortable, but the biggest thing is park rats apparently hate their gear because their stuff always looks super haggard. And this, you can't make it look super haggard. There's nothing to break on it, no seams to rip, no fabric to rip, stretch, blow out, what have you. So it's just gonna last a long time. So for that guy that's just lap and park and it's just super hard on gear, this strap is a welcome upgrade for this binding. This binding's on the softer side, so if you're that dude that's hitting 90-foot jumps and spinning double tens, then A, why are you buying gear? And B, you're not gonna be riding this binding if it's soft. You know, it has a lot of give to it. That high back is gonna get out of your way super easy. It's a little bit more for that kid that's maybe a little more focused on rails. It does have still full EVA foot bed. A lot of times at this price, you lose that, you just get it on toe and heel. Still full EVA foot bed on this guy. Still full toolless adjustment on everything. Toe strap super awesome. It's really basic. It's just 2 pieces of plastic that as you tighten it down across your toe box, it just kind of spreads out a little bit and just sits across your toe super nice. Ratchets are really solid. I've never had any issues with Flux ratchets. They've always been smooth, really smooth, go on smooth. Just kind of a meat and potatoes binding. It's a little bit softer that I really like for park. It just rides really well. It doesn't get in my way at all. And that strap is awesome to have on a park binding. Up now is the Nitro Zero. A few, right? So Nitro Zero. These guys have been around for a long time. They used to be called Raiden, which I understand the change, but Raiden was such a badass name for a binding company. I kind of wish it was still around, but you know, whatever. And I liked them back then too. They were good bindings. And this one's still really good, as it made my top 5. So getting into this guy, the best part about Nitro bindings is airbags. You can kind of see it here. This is vaguely see-through-ish. It's literally an airbag. That's their dampening technology for the heel. It is by far my favorite dampening technology in bindings. I remember the first time I rode it back 6-7 years ago, and I knuckled a jump because that's all I knew how to do when I rode jumps back then, and barely felt it. Like, it was pretty crazy how well that those airbags work. So it's one of the smoothest and just best shock absorbing systems in bindings right now. These guys were also one of the first companies to start using mini discs. So you're going to get minimal dead spot underneath the binding because of that mini disc. It's just a smaller imprint on top of the board. Zero comes in, it's got a nice flexible strap straight forward, allows for a little bit more absorption in your knees as you're coming down off hard landings or big jumps, so you can actually use your legs to absorb stuff so that you're not, you know, just overreacting on top of the board, which can happen with a stiffer strap. High backs are a little bit softer up top, but still pretty supportive. Straight back, gonna always give you what you need. Footbeds with those airbags, also canted at 3 degrees, which canting is kind of a mixed thing for me. These aren't bad. The foam is compressible enough that I feel like I can kind of push through the cant a little bit when I need to. Some people really like canting. If you're riding a little bit wider stands, getting, you know, 22 plus, that's when canting can start to be a little bit nicer because it takes some pressure off your knees. I ride narrow in that, so I tend to like flatter footbeds, but still a good binding. The ratchets are always smooth. They're super big levers here. The releases are a little small. It's really just more something to get used to. They always release smooth, but they just, honestly, I just missed them a few times because they're just tiny. Toe strap's really solid. Again, super basic, which I like. If you've seen any of those videos so far, I've been saying the whole time, less you can give me on toe straps, the better. I just want 2 strands and a hole in the middle. That's going to grab pretty much any boot shape out there, and then there's no boot shapes that's not going to match up with, so it's not going to not fit anything. Tools adjustments on the inside, just pop the cams, move your stuff, super easy. Really supportive park binding that really isn't limited to just park. It's the type of binding that I got in, and it just felt super familiar. It felt like something I'd been in for years, that it was my go-to binding for years, and it was only the first day I'd ridden it. So it's something you can get in, ride everywhere. It's not just limited to park. If you're looking for your gnarly, beefy freeride binding, maybe not, but pretty much anything else. But it does just kill the park, and it's that airbag system that I really like for that. So up now is the Bent Metal Logic. This is year 2 of Bent Metal's redesign. It's pretty hard to say anything good about all their previous stuff beyond the new redesign because it was terrible, and we're just gonna leave it at that. The new stuff is phenomenal. The kind of the big thing with the new Bent Metal stuff is what they're calling drive plates. So you have your footbeds that go on top of pretty much any binding out there. Pretty much everybody else just uses EVA foam. There's a few companies out there using a couple different things here and there, but by and large it's EVA foam, and it's the same thing across the whole industry. Bent Metal one a little bit different. They still have a little bit of an EVA foam ring around the top of it, but the drive plates are made like a snowboarder's made. It has glass, it has a core, and it's actually made in the Mervin manufacturing where Liptech and Manure made. That's kind of what really separates these guys from being just an average binding to a good binding. The Logic is their softest offering, so the drive plate is just glass. As they get stiffer, it goes to basalt and then carbon. It rides really smooth. It gets closer to the board is what really one of the big benefits is. So it gives you a lot more board feel because you're that much closer to the board. But the way that all works with the drive plates is it smooths all that stuff out. So you get that better board feel and that closer board feel without the downside of bright and harsh. The high back on these guys is really pretty dang soft. It's got a little bit bigger wing to it compared to the transfers or the solutions, which just helps to kind of keep the meat of the high back actually behind you. With how soft these guys are, if you got too far out of that high back, it would just be useless. I rode these on a few different boards, ranging from park stuff, obviously, to get a really good idea of what this is going to feel like as a softer binding, but I also rode them on the Endeavor Archetype. And when I rode that, I rode Ice Moguls, and it held up. It was able to actually give me enough control over that board through terrible, terrible, terrible conditions. Why did I ride that? That was awful. I don't know what happened, but I ended up in Ice Moguls and it was awful, but the binding held up, and it actually helped a lot with the gnarly vibrations you're going to get riding that kind of crappy, gnarly, icky terrain. So that was a pretty big, pretty impressive. It was just impressive for that binding to be able to handle that kind of thing. One of the other things I should note about the bent metal stuff is I don't actually know what the size range is that they claim for medium or small, but I wear an 8, and I was able to genuinely and well fit into both medium and small with an 8. So that overlap that they've got in between those two sizes, and then I'd have to assume between the medium and large, is a true, genuine overlap. It really actually works. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm a 10, am I going to fit in the medium? Am I going to fit in the large? You're going to fit in both. So whichever one you feel like you want. Yeah, it's a softer binding, definitely. If you're trying to hit 100-foot jumps on it, maybe not what I'd go for. I'd probably jump up to the transfer at that point. But if you're more jibby and more playful, that's where it really sits. And it sits there really well, and it works awesome. If I was looking for a jib binding, it would definitely be on my top 5. Like I'm telling you in the video. Up right now, we're talking about the Flux DS. Now, Flux doesn't really market this as a park binding. They market it more as an all-mountain binding, but I think the high back is what really kind of pushes it more towards park for me. It's a much more torsionally soft high back. It doesn't offer a lot of support when you really get out towards the wings. That's what kind of shifts it more towards park for me. Frame does have a little more stiffness to it, but I've always liked that. I've liked a stiffer frame pretty much my whole life. I like the support that it gives. I actually run a few seasons old DSs right here on my Zygote, so it's on my jib deck. I like that stiffer feeling underfoot, even on a jib deck, because it gives me more control over the board, so I can react to things a little quicker and just have better foot steering, foot control. And then that softer high back allows me to move around on top of the board a lot easier. This year they updated it to the new waffle strap. It's the same strap that's on the XF that I talk about in the freeride section of this series. It's definitely stiffer than the old fabric strap that's on mine. It's more supportive, which again I kind of like. I like to be able to land off of something hard and actually have something to drive into, something that's going to support me when I get deep into a compression. So it's a welcome upgrade for sure. And going away from that fabric, you're not going to blow any seams, you're not going to rip any fabric. The strap's not going to die on you. It's going to stay riding well the whole life of the binding. Flux does not a ton of dampening on their stuff. It gives a lot more board feel, which when it comes to park, kind of hit and miss with a lot of people with that. It doesn't offer the same level of shock absorbing as a lot of other stuff out there, but that board feel allows you to have a lot more control. So when you're coming up to a rail, you can really feel the snow underneath you and really react to it. You can really react to how hard you're hitting on top of the rail. You can really feel the lip of the jump as you're coming off of it. So there's some downsides and some upsides to it. I think the upsides outweigh the downsides in my personal opinion. If you've got some boots that are just super thin soled and you feel everything through them, then maybe go towards something that's got a little more padding. Or if you're just looking for something that is going to be a little nicer on your knees, again, maybe go towards something that's got a little more padding. But if you want that board feel, you want that reaction and that response and that feedback, then I really like that Flux frame for that. I've been riding the DSs on my Zygote, like I said, for a number of years now, so it's definitely been one of my top picks even for a number of years, not just for 2018. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This has been the Binding Review series. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me whatever you want to tell me. Tell me that your favorite binding didn't make it in here. Tell me, debate with me. Why did your binding deserve to be in here and I didn't pick it?
Oh, another thing, guys. If you like what we're doing and you want to try to support, check out the link below. We've got a Patreon now, and it gives you some really cool options with great benefits to give us some support monthly and get a little bit back and some sneak peeks behind the scenes. So check it out.